Hi everyone, Coach Sullivan here again with MGS Coaching Football. To my subscribers, I thank you, and to those who haven't yet, I really hope you do. I just completed my 38th year coaching football as a defensive coordinator, but I've also over that time been an offensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, longtime head coach, all of this at both the collegiate and high school levels. Today, in this presentation, I want to talk to you about one of our field boundary blitz concepts that we call Florida Browns. It's from our Go family. Okay, so non-subscribers, you're going to have to hit that subscribe button to get all of this, okay? So what I want to do first is go through the key terms that would relate to Florida Browns, all right? And then up top, I have the field blitz, which is Florida. And on the bottom, I have the boundary blitz, which is Browns. So that's all going to be a part of it here today, okay? So you start off with why ball on the hash? Well, this is a field boundary blitz concept, which means ball has to be on the hash. Okay, I mean, technically you could do it middle, but for us, the way we look at it, the way I've looked at it, and it's certainly gotten easier with all the various programs, including Huddle, every offense has a field and a boundary tendency with all their personnel groups. So going into every game, we have a field boundary game plan component. Sometimes it's bigger or smaller, depending, but every offense has tendencies to the field and to the boundary. Okay, so the field boundary concept, not subscribers, gotta hit that button, right? It's predicated on how many wide receivers there are to the side of the blitz. Okay, which will determine who's best available to blitz and who's best available to cover. All right, see, we go, or it's been my philosophy and was how we approach it with the kids. The offense knows we're blitzing. They know you're blitzing. They know where you're blitzing, right? So when you do that, you start to think about every possible thing that you need to take care of in order to successfully execute the blitz and well as blitz coverage. Okay, so that's why ball's on the hash. Second, Florida is what is our go blitz. As I said, it's a cross blitz that I'm going to show to you from the big field. Now, this is the only time I'm going to say big field because I don't want to assume that when I say we're coming from the field that means also big field, right? Ball's on the hash, the field. Okay, that's where Florida is coming from. Florida begins with F, so does field. Okay, and the complement to that is boundary begins with B, Browns begins with B. So Florida Browns is the same blitz. Okay. And so when there's one wide receiver in Florida, it's going to be the free. Safety's the one who's available when there's only one wide receiver. And we'll go through all that with you. The cross blitz is the freeze a C crash. That's the go. That's what makes it a go family. So again, not subscribers. Okay. And I'm not planning on getting into intricate detail. You'll have to subscribe so you can get access to all of that. Okay. But I will go through enough of it. Okay. The DN call side, here's the difference. Flash B, loop C. Flash B, loop C. So there'll be a definite reason why we would call Florida Browns. And I'll get into that with you as I start to go through the diagram up on top and on the bottom. Okay? So now the complement, meaning the same but coming from the boundary, Browns is the go cross blitz from the boundary. Okay? And versus one wide receiver, it's going to be the corner. The corner is the one available when it's coming from the boundary. Okay? So it's the same. Now the corner is the C crash. It's the boundary. Okay. We do have other blitzes to answer this question, middle of the field, where it starts off as the boundary, but if the offense motions and changes pass strength, then it becomes the field. So that's why we just say corner to answer that question. Okay. The creep technique is for both the safety and the corner when they're blitzing, right? They have to get in a position to blitz. You can't be blitzing from 12 yards away from the line of scrimmage or potentially 10 yards, right? So we're going to teach you the creep technique. And then there's a skin technique. When there's an attached outside linebacker, means versus a tight end, what that outside linebacker does to open up the C gap. Okay. And then a big important uh, aspect of this whole concept, +1 in the box, right? We're going to add to the box. Again, non-subscribers, we only do this out of base, which means we got 2 high safeties, which is great, but it also means we got minimum box numbers. So this helps us determine the blitzer who's available, who can accomplish getting in +1 into the box while being sound in coverage. Okay? So now I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to put it to work up here on the board. So I'm going to utilize blue from this point forward. Okay? So again, balls on the hash, left hash, I signal. We're going to the field. Kids don't know what the blitz is yet, but they can scream Ringo. Kids don't know how many wide receivers there are. We'll assume this isn't a hurry up. Okay? I mean, it could still be no huddle, but the offense spends a fair amount of time looking at their side, right? We know this. So they're saying Ringo. Now they get Florida. I clap. Now they turn, right? So they go through their alignment, all their calls. They recognize there's one wide receiver, which triggers the free calling out his code, which is Fresno. Now, that's all he needs to say because it's a cross blitz, which is okay, again, a go. Everybody knows that. So it's Ringo. So the stud already knows he's in it. Now the free sees it's one wide receiver. He screams, Fresno, Fresno, Fresno. I'm going, right? Ringo now triggers Roger because we know it has to be trio. So not only does he say Fresno, they say Roger. They're also saying to each other, trio, trio, trio. Or they just signal it like this. And sometimes if you've got a good group of kids, smart group of kids, both, experienced group of kids, players, 24, 5 years old, 19 years old, 15 years old, whatever it is. You let them come up with codes that means trio, that's fine too. Let them take some ownership. Okay? As long as everybody's on the same page. So that to answer that question. So now that everybody knows one wide receiver, you hear Fresno, not subscribers, going to have to hit that button. When the DB's in the blitz, it has to be trio. Okay? That's as much as I'm going to say. So in addition, you're going to see, right? Hot 1, hot 2, hot 1, hot tight end, but he's a skin technique, which I'll go over, okay? The only thing I will share with you, non-subscribers, so you're welcome ahead of time, is these guys are all reading surface first for running past, then they get hot on the receiver. It's a better run support, okay? So what I like to do now, I'm going to go over Florida. We're going to teach you the cross, the C crash. We're going to teach you flash B, loop C. We're going to bring in the creep as well as the skin and the +1. All of that I'm going to do for you right now, okay? So first and foremost, the creep. Technique. Well, it's based upon what we call snap indicators. Okay, that starts the screw timing. And then the creep is the technique to screw down, okay? So it's under center. So there's a lot of different things. He gets underneath and he goes left, middle, right. Then he starts the cadence. Maybe that's the snap indicator. Maybe he comes out, he stands, does the same thing essentially. And then when he puts his hands on it, maybe that's the snap indicator. Okay? Whatever it is, I'm going to do here and then hands go on it, snap indicator. That is when the free begins to screw down, which means get closer to the line of scrimmage. And the creep is the technique to do that. Okay, so here's the quarterback. All right, there's the snap indicator. So now the safety, free. Okay, the creep technique, the safeties, both safeties have a staggered stance. Okay, inside foot up. So even with balls on the hash, Okay? He's going to put, if it's on the left hash, he's going to put his right foot up and vice versa. To execute the get off properly, okay, there are the feet. The creep technique, you move the up foot first, the inside foot. Just like that, because then it becomes a dig crossover. That's the get off. So as he's executing the creep, he gets that heel, digs the toe, heel off the ground, so then he can dig off that toe and cross over, no false steps. Okay? So we give him as a landmark. Get even with your inside linebacker. Okay, get even with your inside linebacker. He'll never be offside. You don't have to worry about freeze count. So now let me talk to you about the skin technique, right? PAT field goal block. You got the skin and jumper, the guy that's grabbing, pulling, opening up for the jumper to come through and block. Well, that's what the skin technique. Our attached outside linebackers, in this case, it's the rover, right? It's versus 11 personnel. He's always knocking back. So the skin technique, he's going to do the same. He's going to be here, and now he's going to open up. So he's going to shoot his hand. So I'm going to go back to the black now. He's going to shoot his hand, and now he's going to pull him, open up the C gap. Shoot, grab, and pull. Okay, shoot, grab, and pull. Meaning shoot the hands, grab and cloth, pull. Open up the C gap. Okay? So that would be the exact same technique down here. Because a C crash is a C crash. Right? C gap begins with the outside of the tackle. So we're not going to blitz off the tight end, excuse me. Then that's not a C crash. Okay? So open up the C gap. He goes first, hard, C crash, right through. This is on the snap of the ball. Defensive end. When we say flash, we want you to step hard and rip because you got to be ready to have the offensive tackle try and block you. Okay, so to protect yourself a little bit, when we step, we have them step laterally. Okay, it's a lateral step. And in his head, we say step lateral, 1,000, 1,002, now loop C. Flash, 1,000, 1,002, loop C. So he's second, he's first, C crash. Right off the outside hip, the butt of the tackle. Okay? So we utilize this against teams that have tendencies to the field to run zone read. RPOs, nice little changeup. Okay, and that would be why we would call Florida against the zone read or an RPO. All right, and I'm only showing you against this. It can be against all personnel groups. It comes down to the same thing. How many wide receivers? If there's one, it's going to be a Fresno. Boom, done. Okay, so now down here, right? Browns, all I do is I signal the players. My guy up in the press box always tell me, you're in the middle, you're on the near upright, far upright, you're near hash, far hash. That's what I get. Those are the things I get from my press box guy to start. Middle, near upright, far upright, near hash, far hash. So I have an idea where the ball is located, right? Okay, because we're watching all kinds of things, looking at their personnel, any changes, etc. There's a lot going on, as you know, in that time clock period. So play clock, excuse me. Okay, I'm signaling we're going into the boundary, so now the kids are screaming it's going to be a lucky. Now we tell them it's Browns. We strike the Heisman pose. Boom. Okay, or we use the signboard. Let me get you the signboard here. We point to that. Kids know it's Browns. Browns, right? So I'm not holding it. One of our designated people's holding it, but here it is, right? Signboard. Browns. Sorry, I thought I had it right there ready and had fallen down. Apologize. Okay, so then now the only difference here is who's blitzing, right? Browns versus one wide receiver. It's the corner. So now they get the signal. It's Browns. They come out, one wide receiver. Corner screams, Colorado, Colorado, Colorado. Again, that's all he has to do because it's a cross. He knew it's Browns. He already knew. He's flashing B, loop, and C. He already knew that. This is the beautiful thing. Okay? So now lucky. So then same snap indicator, right? Boom, boom. Pew. Now he executes the creep. The footwork's a little different in that the foot near the line of scrimmage is the up foot, so he does the same thing. All right, it's a different angle. And now his aiming point is the heels of the rover. We say don't get too tight to the heels, but that's the aiming point. Again, he won't ever be offside on a freeze count either. He can see the football. He can see everything. And then again, I'll use the blue this time. On the snap, he's shooting, grabbing, and turning. Shoot, grab, and turn. Shoot, grab, and turn, right? Open the C gap. And now he is buzzing hard first, right? C first, C crash. Right off the butt of the tackle. Right? Flash B, loop C, 1,000, 1,000, true. So you go second. Again, RPO, zone read into the boundary, quick pitch into the boundary in particular, speed option. He's got the pitch. He'd have the quarterback, right? So I didn't go over maybe. I'm going to go over that down here. And I didn't go over the rotation of the weak side safety, but I will. Don't worry about it. I just want you to see how simple this is to execute. This is a cross blitz that we will use against zone read RPO teams with tendencies. This is built in. This is the blitz for our Florida Browns. So when there's one wide receiver into the boundary's our friend. It makes him available to blitz. +1. He's the +1 guy. He's the +1 guy, right? Corner. Everybody else is in the better position to cover. He's in the best position to add the +1 and blitz, execute the cross, as is he in Browns, okay? So now up here, what maybe is it's the Mike and backer comboing the running backs. Simple as that. And we just always like to say, well, maybe you got him, maybe you got him, okay? But that's all it means. On the snap, he rotates middle, so we're spinning the safeties in the direction of the blitz. Now down here, maybe it's the same. Clamp. When it's Browns and there's one wide receiver, so Colorado. Clamp technique. He stays at 12 yards, going laterally, keeping inside and vertical leverage on number one, meaning not letting him cut butt side on you. Okay? Quick story, in 2014, we're playing Coast Guard. Called Browns, comes off the boundary. Great coaching. They know how to adjust. Just missing here because they'd like to run speed option into the boundary. So not sure if the quarterback knew what was coming. They had it. He took the ball, threw like a 2-yard hitch here. Meanwhile, this safety had already started screaming on the snap. He made one move, touchdown. So we prefer that you play hot on number one from depth. If they do that, for whatever reason, they feel like we always say, hey, he knows you're blitzing, and that's where we're going, right? So it was a great learning point. Never happened again. We'd rather you playing from there. Come down, under control, rally up, hold them 6-7 yard game. We can live with that. But that's the clamp technique. Okay? Ball snap. Now he's the middle third. Rotates middle. So again, we're spinning the safeties in the direction of the blitz. So again, he's now +1. He's in the best position to blitz. Everybody else is in the best available position to cover. That's the premise of our field boundary concept. Okay? So, as I said at the beginning, to my subscribers, I thank you. And to those who haven't, I hope I made the point right. Please push the button and subscribe. And again, thank you to YouTube for making this all possible. To everyone, please reach out to me at coachmjsullivan@gmail.com. It's starting to happen. And when it does, I'm learning a ton too. So let's help each other out. Let's do this as often as possible. And then our players will be better off for it as well.